They took her off because she was crazy. Optics are bad, but she's crazy. Well, her own executive producer also described her as nuts. Are we going to put someone that even Fox, and I'm not a particular fan of Fox, but even Fox thought was crazy, nuts, couldn't be trusted on live television? We're going to trust her with the lives and liberty of people in the District of Columbia? Her confirmation is only going to add to the lack of public confidence in the Justice Department. I asked her in my questions for the record if she stood by these comments she made that her own executives thought were nuts and crazy and not worthy of being on television, and she would not respond.
Welcome to America Viewpoint, where we speak the truth, defend our freedoms, and fight for the values that made this nation great. No censorship, no woke spin, just bold, unfiltered commentary from real Americans who love this country. If you're tired of the lies and ready to stand for faith, family, and freedom, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the Liberty Bell, because this is where the fight begins. Today, we need to talk about something that cuts right to the heart of American justice and free speech. In a heated Judiciary Committee hearing, Adam Schiff tore into Judge Jeanine Pirro, not because she lacks experience, not because she broke the law, but because she said things that offended the political class. This is the new America, according to Schiff and his allies. If you speak out, if you refuse to toe the establishment line, you're branded crazy, unqualified, or even dangerous. But here's what they don't want you to hear. Jeanine Pirro is a former judge, a former district attorney, and a relentless advocate for law and order. She spent her life serving the American people. And now, because she dared to speak the truth on national television, they want to cancel her? Let's break this down and expose exactly what's going on.
Westchester County, reject her. She's not needed. She's unqualified, disqualified, scandalous, questionable accountability, and a liar.
Now, Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's certainly, I think, come to all of our attention that the bench is held in a lower regard today than probably at any time in our lifetimes. So there are a lot of reasons why that is the case. But it is, I think, all the more incumbent, given the lack of public confidence in a truly independent judiciary, that we really carefully examine each of the nominees that come before this committee and ask ourselves the question, is this going to contribute to the solution and increase confidence in the judiciary, or is it going to contribute to the problem? And it seems to me that too many of the nominees we have examined, like Émile Beauvais, will only bring further discredit and a lack of public confidence in the judiciary. Is it really likely that members of the public, for example, are going to have confidence that decisions that a U.S. attorney, in this case, Pirro, are being made on a truly nonpartisan, impartial basis? We're going to face the same crisis of confidence in the bench now in the Justice Department, and we are. She may be a capable Fox News commentator. That is really not the criteria we should be using to pick someone for such an important office. I spent almost 6 years in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles. I venerate the work that's done by the Justice Department, at least I have in the past. I have the most profound concerns over what I see the department doing now, the extraordinary breaches of every policy of the department on both sides of the aisle, the dismissal of corruption cases because a allegedly corrupt public official is beneficial to the president on unrelated policy matters. I don't know where this is heading, but putting Pirro in this position of responsibility is just going to contribute to the problem. I mean, if you look at what those who know her best had to say about her, as my colleagues pointed out, Fox had to pay Dominion $787 million for defaming that voting system. And after reviewing one of Pirro's monologues after the 2020 election, Fox News executive Andrews emailed network executives that her monologue was rife with conspiracy theories and BS, and is yet another example why this woman should never be on live television. I mean, even her own people on Fox thought she couldn't be trusted to be on TV, on their own network. And after the show was briefly taken off the air, Fox News producer Justin Wells described, they took her off because she was crazy. Optics are bad, but she's crazy. Well, her own executive producer also described her as nuts. Are we going to put someone that even Fox, and I'm not a particular fan of Fox, but even Fox thought was crazy, nuts, couldn't be trusted on live television? We're going to trust her with the lives and liberty of people in the District of Columbia? Her confirmation is only going to add to the lack of public confidence in the Justice Department. I asked her in my questions for the record if she stood by these comments she made that her own executives thought were nuts and crazy and not worthy of being on television, and she would not respond. That should give us a lot of pause about putting someone in a position of responsibility like that. I would just appeal that when it comes to the Justice Department, when it comes to the bench, that we raise the bar a little. Let's not put people on the bench who are encouraging Justice Department lawyers to say F you to the court, or dropping legitimate corruption cases, or lying so badly on national TV that they cost their own network hundreds of millions of dollars. We could do better than that, and I would hope and urge that we will, and urge a no vote on Pirro.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Adam Schiff began his rant by claiming that Americans have lost faith in the judiciary. He's not wrong, but his reasoning is laughable. He wants you to believe that conservatives like Jeanine Pirro are the reason people no longer trust our legal system. Let's get real. The American people have lost faith in our institutions because they've watched the Justice Department bend over backward to protect the powerful while targeting political opponents. They've watched investigations launched over fake dossiers, impeachment trials over phone calls, and corruption swept under the rug, all while honest Americans are left wondering whether the rule of law still exists. This didn't start with Jeanine Pirro. It started with a two-tiered system of justice, and Schiff has been one of its loudest enablers. He says we should be asking whether a nominee will contribute to the solution or to the problem. But Schiff and the Democratic Party don't want solutions. They want silence. They don't want independent thinkers in positions of power. They want obedient functionaries who repeat the party line. Jeanine Pirro is the exact opposite of that. She's tough, she's passionate, and she's fiercely independent. As District Attorney of Westchester County, she was the first woman to hold that role, and she served with distinction for over a decade. She took on organized crime, domestic violence, and political corruption. Her record isn't just about tough talk. It's about real results. But Schiff didn't mention any of that. He didn't mention her successful prosecutions. He didn't mention her experience on the bench. He didn't mention the thousands of families she fought for in her courtroom. Instead, he read quotes from internal Fox News emails. That's the level of discourse we're dealing with now. Political grandstanding based on behind-the-scenes gossip from a television network. He even quoted an executive who said Pirro shouldn't be on live TV because she was nuts. Think about that for a moment. We're no longer disqualifying people based on what they've done. We're disqualifying them based on what their critics say about them behind closed doors. That's not justice. That's character assassination. And it's dangerous. If that becomes the standard, then no one is safe. Because at any moment, an opponent can dig up a mean email, a nasty tweet, or an out-of-context quote and say, "See, this person can't be trusted. What happened to due process? What happened to judging people by their record, their actions, their results?" Schiff then tries to paint Pirro as a dangerous ideologue because she questioned the results of the 2020 election. But let me ask you, Since when did asking questions become disqualifying? Millions of Americans have concerns about how that election was handled, from ballot drop boxes to last-minute rule changes. Questioning government procedures isn't a threat to democracy, it is democracy. This country was founded by men who questioned the system, who challenged the status quo, who refused to be silenced. Today, people like Jeanine Pirro carry that torch. And for that, the establishment want her gone. Schiff also said her confirmation would undermine public trust in the Department of Justice. Let's take a moment to talk about that department. This is the same DOJ that labeled parents at school board meetings as potential domestic terrorists. This is the same DOJ that slow-walked investigations into politically connected figures while aggressively prosecuting pro-life activists. This is the same DOJ that had no problem executing armed raids on conservative figures, often for minor offenses, while turning a blind eye to government abuse elsewhere. Schiff is worried that Pirro might politicize the DOJ. Where has he been for the last 5 years? This is projection at its worst. Accuse others of what you're already doing. Schiff and his allies are the ones politicizing justice. Pirro is just the latest victim of their witch hunt. And let's not forget, Schiff himself has never been held accountable for the years he spent lying to the American people about Russia collusion. He said he had more than circumstantial evidence. He said it on every major network. He knew it wasn't true, and yet he was never censured, never punished, never removed from his post. That's what real disinformation looks like, and it came straight from a sitting member of Congress. Jeanine Pirro is being punished not because she lied, but because she dared to challenge the lies. And there's something even more sinister happening here. By using Fox News internal emails and the Dominion lawsuit settlement as evidence, Schiff is trying to send a message to networks, to commentators, to journalists. Stay in line, or you'll be next. It's a chilling form of censorship. They don't need to throw people in jail. They just shame them out of the public square. They drag them through the mud. They try to bankrupt them. They make them untouchable. It's cancel culture backed by government power. And if we allow it to continue, the future of free speech in this country is in grave danger. We need more voices like Jeanine Pirro, not fewer. Voices that stand up for the Constitution. Voices that fight for due process. Voices that aren't afraid to ask hard questions. This country was built on bold speech, on fiery debate, on clashing opinions. That's how liberty thrives. Silencing one side of the conversation, no matter how controversial, is how liberty dies. And we need to remember that. This wasn't just another Judiciary Committee hearing. This was a warning shot to anyone in America who dares to speak boldly. Adam Schiff tried to destroy Jeanine Pirro's reputation not because she broke the law, but because she broke the narrative. She challenged the system. She made people uncomfortable. She told the truth, or at least asked the uncomfortable questions that the elite didn't want asked. And for that, they want her silenced. But here's the good news. Americans are waking up. They're seeing the hypocrisy. They're rejecting the double standards. They're rallying around leaders who speak from the heart, not from the teleprompter. So what happens next is up to us. Will we cave to fear and censorship? Or will we stand up and say, enough? Will we reject the cancel mob? Or will we defend those who fight for our values? Jeanine Pirro may not be perfect. None of us are. But she's a fighter. She's an American. And she deserves better than to be dragged through the mud by the same people who've lied to us for years. This isn't just about her nomination. It's about who we are as a country. It's about whether the Constitution still matters. It's about whether free speech still has a place in America. And here, at America Viewpoint, we will always answer yes. We will stand for truth. We will stand for liberty. And we will stand with every American who refuses to be silenced. This is America Viewpoint, where we don't whisper, we roar. We stand tall, speak loud, and never back down from defending truth and liberty. If this message fired you up, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications because the fight for America doesn't end when the video does. Until next time, stay strong, stay free, and may God bless the United States of America.